Have you ever wondered if God is preparing you for a major breakthrough? It's a question that may have crossed your mind in times of persistent challenges or when you encounter a series of closed doors. Well, today we're going to delve into a fascinating topic: the 12 signs that God might be paving the way for a significant breakthrough in your life. Picture this. You're on a spiritual journey, a journey of faith that is often depicted as a path. Now imagine that path leading to a dense, impenetrable forest. A breakthrough is that moment when you finally find a clearing in the forest. A sudden, dramatic and important discovery or development that propels you forward on your spiritual journey. This breakthrough is not just a moment of enlightenment, it's a moment of growth, of transformation, and of deeper connection with your faith. It's when you feel like you've climbed a mountain, reached the summit, and now you can see the whole landscape of your spiritual journey before you. But how do we know when this breakthrough is coming? Are there signs, indications, a divine GPS guiding us towards it? That's precisely what we're going to explore together. We're going to discuss 12 signs that may indicate that God is preparing you for a major breakthrough. These signs range from facing persistent challenges, experiencing the removal of negative influences, encountering closed doors, feeling an increased urge to pray, to receiving specific instructions from God. Each of these signs is a piece of the puzzle, a stepping stone on the path to your spiritual breakthrough. And understanding these signs, recognizing them in your life, can help you to navigate your spiritual journey with more confidence, more faith, and more direction. So are you ready to explore these signs? Are you ready to understand how they can pave the way for your spiritual growth? Join us as we navigate through these signs and understand how they can pave the way for your spiritual growth. Firstly, you may find yourself facing persistent challenges. It's a common occurrence in our lives, isn't it? We often find ourselves tangled in the cobweb of problems, and it seems like there's no way out. But did you know that these trials and tribulations can often be a sign that a significant breakthrough is on the horizon? Let's take a step back and delve into one of the oldest tales from the Bible, the story of Job. Job was a man of immense faith and righteousness, yet he faced a series of relentless adversities. He lost his wealth, his children, and his health in rapid succession. To the casual observer, it may have seemed like Job was being punished, but in reality he was being prepared for a major breakthrough. See, the story of Job is not just about suffering. It's about resilience, faith, and the transformative power of challenges. Job's trials were not punishments. Instead, they were opportunities for growth, spiritual elevation, and ultimate redemption. His steadfast faith amidst the storm led him to a divine breakthrough, with God restoring his fortunes and blessing him with twice as much as he had before. So, when you find yourself in the midst of persistent challenges, remember Job's story. Consider the possibility that these challenges are not meant to break you, but to make you. They are not stumbling blocks, but stepping stones leading you to a higher plane of existence. Challenges shape us, mold us, and prepare us for greater things. They are the refining fire that purifies gold, the chisel that shapes the diamond. And like Job, our faith and resilience amidst these trials can lead us to our own divine breakthroughs. So the next time you're facing a tough situation, don't despair. Instead, take a deep breath, bolster your faith, and remember that you are being prepared for something bigger, something better. Remember, challenges are not punishments, but opportunities for growth. Sign number 2, the removal of negative influences from your life. Now, this might sound a bit strange at first. How can the removal of something be a sign of preparation for a breakthrough? But let's delve a bit deeper into this. Often, life is like a garden. In order for new, beautiful plants to grow and flourish, we first need to clear away the weeds. The same principle applies to our lives. Sometimes harmful influences, whether they are toxic relationships, unhealthy habits, or negative thought patterns, can hold us back from reaching our full potential. Consider the story of Jonah from the Bible. Jonah was a prophet who was instructed by God to go to the city of Nineveh and warn its people of their impending destruction due to their wickedness. But Jonah, fearing the task, fled in the opposite direction. Eventually, after a series of events involving a storm and a large fish, Jonah was brought back on the right path. He ended up fulfilling God's command, and the people of Nineveh repented, saving their city from destruction. In Jonah's case, his negative influence was his own fear and disobedience. When these were removed, he was able to fulfill his purpose and bring about a significant change. Similarly, when God removes negative influences from our lives, it's not an act of punishment, but rather it's an act of preparation. God is clearing the path, making room for new growth, new opportunities, and new blessings. So if you're noticing that certain things or people are being removed from your life, it might be a sign that God is preparing you for a breakthrough. Remember, these removals are not losses, they're releases. They free up space and energy for something much more beneficial and aligned with your purpose. So embrace these changes. Trust that they are part of a larger plan. Take it as a sign of preparation, a sign of a coming breakthrough. And remember, every removal is a preparation for something new to enter your life. Moving on to our next sign, standing up to obstacles. Now, you might think, aren't obstacles the exact opposite of a breakthrough? But let's consider this from a different angle. Obstacles are not roadblocks, but tests of our faith and resilience. They are opportunities for us to grow, to become stronger, and to prepare for the breakthrough that lies ahead. Take, for instance, the story of David and Goliath from the Bible. David, a shepherd boy, was faced with the towering obstacle of Goliath, a giant warrior. But David did not back down. Instead, he stood up to the obstacle with faith and courage, and with God's help, he was able to defeat Goliath. This was a significant breakthrough for David, as it led to his eventual kingship. In our lives, we may come across various Goliaths, challenges that seem insurmountable, but remember the story of David. Just as David stood up to his Goliath and achieved a breakthrough, we too can face our obstacles head-on and overcome them. It's about having faith, being resilient, and trusting God's plan. When you stand up to obstacles, you're essentially saying, I trust that God is preparing me for a breakthrough. So if you're facing an obstacle in your life right now, don't be disheartened. Instead, stand up to it. Face it with courage and faith. Remember, obstacles are not roadblocks, but stepping stones to your breakthrough. Embrace the challenge, trust in God's plan, and prepare for the breakthrough that is to come. Next up is the seventh sign, preparing to receive instructions from God. This is a crucial sign as it often precedes a breakthrough. In the Bible, we see numerous instances of individuals receiving instructions from God before achieving significant breakthroughs. Take Moses, for example. He received explicit instructions from God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Following God's instructions, Moses was able to lead his people to freedom, a significant breakthrough. Similarly, Noah was instructed by God to build an ark in preparation for a great flood. Noah followed God's instructions, and as a result, he and his family were saved. These stories underscore the importance of being prepared to receive instructions from God. So, how do we prepare ourselves? Firstly, by spending time in prayer and meditation, creating a space for God to speak into our lives. Secondly, by studying and understanding the Scriptures, which are filled with God's instructions and wisdom. And thirdly, by being open and receptive, willing to act on God's instructions, even when they might not make sense at first. Remember, when God instructs, breakthroughs follow. So, if you find yourself in a place of waiting, use this time to prepare yourself to receive instructions from God. Be like Moses, be like Noah. Spend time in prayer, study the Scriptures, and cultivate a receptive heart. Be ready to act on God's instructions. This readiness, this anticipation, is a powerful sign of an impending breakthrough. So, as we move forward, let's keep our hearts open, our ears attentive, and our spirits ready to receive from God. Because when we are prepared to receive instructions from God, we are essentially preparing for the breakthrough that lies ahead. Moving on to our eighth sign, getting ready to be mocked. It might sound strange, but getting ready to be mocked is actually a sign of an upcoming breakthrough. In the Bible, many of God's chosen were mocked before they experienced their breakthroughs. Take Noah, who was ridiculed for building an ark in the desert, or David, who was laughed at by his own brothers when he decided to face Goliath. And let's not forget Jesus, who was scorned and rejected, yet his resurrection became the greatest breakthrough in history. These stories tell us that mockery is often a precursor to a major breakthrough. So how do we handle mockery? Firstly, by understanding that mockery is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of the mocker's insecurity. Secondly, by not letting the words of others deter you from your path. Stay focused on your God-given mission. And thirdly, by responding with love and grace, just as Jesus did. Remember, your breakthrough is not determined by people's opinions, but by God's promise. So if you're being mocked for your faith, your dreams, or your pursuits, take heart. It's not a setback, but a setup for your breakthrough. So let's embrace mockery, let's rise above it, and let's march forward in faith, knowing that our breakthrough is just around the corner. Moving forward to sign number 9, beware of distractions. Just as getting ready to be mocked and encountering closed doors, being aware of distractions is another sign that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. In the Bible, we see several examples of individuals who had to avoid distractions to stay on their path. Nehemiah, tasked with rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, faced multiple distractions. He was taunted, threatened, and even invited to a meeting to halt his work. But Nehemiah was aware of these distractions and did not allow them to deter him from his God-given mission. Similarly, Jesus was tempted by Satan in the wilderness, but he did not let these distractions sway him from his purpose. So, how can we, in our lives, avoid distractions? Firstly, by recognizing that distractions come in different forms. They could be negative people, unnecessary commitments, or even our own doubts and fears. Secondly, by prioritizing our goals and aligning them with our spiritual path. And finally, by seeking God's guidance when we feel lost or distracted. Remember, distractions are not roadblocks but detours. They are not meant to stop you, but to test your resolve and your commitment to your journey. So let's be aware of distractions, let's rise above them, and let's stay focused on our God-given mission, knowing that our breakthrough is just around the corner. As we leap forward, let's delve into the 10th sign, be confident about your future. Confidence in your future is a strong indicator that you're on the precipice of a major breakthrough. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of individuals who had unwavering confidence in their future and achieved incredible breakthroughs. Consider Joseph, who, despite being sold into slavery and later imprisoned, never lost confidence in his future. He knew God had a plan for him, and he trusted in that plan. His confidence was not misplaced. He went from being a prisoner to the second most powerful person in Egypt, saving many lives in the process. His story is a testament to the fact that when we have confidence in our future, even in the face of adversity, we open the door to breakthroughs. So, how can we instill this confidence in our future? Firstly, by trusting in God's plan for us. Even if we can't see the entire picture, we must have faith that God is leading us to where we need to be. Secondly, by remembering God's past faithfulness, reflect on the times when God has come through for you and let that fuel your confidence about the future. And finally, by staying positive and hopeful even when things seem bleak. Remember, our thoughts have power. When we think positively and have confidence in our future, we attract positive outcomes. In conclusion, being confident about your future is not about being arrogant or presumptuous. It's about having assurance in God's plan for your life. It's about knowing that every experience, every trial, and every triumph is leading you closer to your breakthrough. So let's be confident about our future, knowing that our breakthrough is not just a possibility, but a certainty in God's perfect plan. Moving forward, we reach our 11th sign, learn to rely on God. This is a crucial step on our journey towards a breakthrough. When we learn to rely on God, we acknowledge that we are not alone in our struggles and challenges. We accept that there is a higher power guiding us, supporting us, and leading us towards our breakthrough. In the Bible, we see many instances of individuals who relied on God and achieved extraordinary breakthroughs. Think about Moses, who, despite his initial doubts and fears, relied on God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Or David, who, as a young shepherd boy, relied on God to defeat the giant Goliath. Their reliance on God was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to their faith and trust in His divine guidance. So how can we learn to rely on God in our lives? Firstly, by acknowledging our limitations and recognizing that we cannot do everything on our own. Secondly, by trusting in God's sovereignty and believing that He has a plan for our lives. Thirdly, by seeking God's guidance in prayer and meditation and listening for His voice in the quiet moments of our lives. And finally, by surrendering our worries and fears to God and allowing Him to carry our burdens. Learning to rely on God is not about giving up control, but about partnering with the divine to achieve our breakthroughs. It is about recognizing that in our weakness, His strength is made perfect. In conclusion, reliance on God is not a sign of weakness, but a source of strength. It is a sign that we are on the cusp of a major breakthrough. So, let's learn to rely on God, trusting in His guidance and believing in His plan for our lives. As we continue our journey, we arrive at the 12th sign. Signs of breakthrough will come from people around you. This is a powerful indicator of an imminent breakthrough. Often, God uses people around us as vessels to convey His messages and guide us towards our breakthroughs. These signs can come in various forms: a word of encouragement, a piece of advice, a prophetic message, or even a gesture of kindness. In the Bible, there are numerous accounts of people receiving signs through others. Think about Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers, but later rose to become a powerful figure in Egypt. It was through the interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams that Joseph found his breakthrough. Or consider Esther, who was guided by her cousin Mordecai to become the queen and save her people. These stories remind us that God often works through people to reveal His plans and purposes. So how can we recognize and interpret these signs? Firstly, by staying open and receptive to the people around us. Secondly, by praying for discernment to understand the messages that God is communicating through others. And thirdly, by being courageous to act on these signs and follow the path that they are leading us towards. In conclusion, signs from people around you are not mere coincidences, but divine messages pointing towards your breakthrough. They are part of God's creative ways of guiding us, teaching us, and preparing us for our moment of breakthrough. So, let's stay open, receptive, and discerning. Let's remember that God can use anyone, at any time, in any place, to deliver a sign that can change the course of our lives. As we journey towards our breakthrough, let's keep our eyes and ears open, for the signs might just be coming from the people around us. Thirdly, encountering closed doors. No one likes the feeling of a door being closed in their face. It could be a job rejection, a failed relationship, or a missed opportunity. But in the grand scheme of life's journey, these closed doors often lead to open windows. This concept is not new. It has roots in the ancient scriptures. Take, for instance, the story of Paul in the book of Acts. Paul, a fervent apostle, had plans to travel to Asia to spread the gospel, but he encountered a closed door, a clear no from the Spirit. Instead, he was led to Macedonia, where he had significant impact. Had he not encountered that closed door, he wouldn't have found the open window that led to something greater. In our lives too, when we face closed doors, it's easy to feel defeated and lost. But remember the story of Paul. Just as a closed door led him to a better path, the same can be true for us. Closed doors are not a sign of God's disfavor, but rather they are a sign of His redirection. It's God's way of saying, I have something better for you. So don't be disheartened by the closed doors in your life. They are not rejections, but redirects. They are not setbacks, but setups for a greater comeback. They are signs that God is preparing you for a major breakthrough. Remember, a closed door is just a hallway leading to the next open door. It's a pause, not a full stop. It's a time for reflection, a time for growth, a time to realign with our true purpose. So the next time you encounter a closed door, instead of asking, why me? Say, lead me. Lead me to the path that you have prepared for me. Closed doors are not the end, but a redirection to something better. The fourth sign is an increased urge to pray. This surge of desire to communicate more frequently, more deeply with God, can often signify that you're being prepared for a breakthrough. It's not about reciting words or following a set pattern. Instead, it's about opening your heart and mind and inviting God into your thoughts and feelings. Consider the biblical figures who found strength and guidance through prayer. Daniel, for instance, was known for his unwavering commitment to prayer. Despite the laws against it, he prayed 3 times a day, seeking wisdom and understanding from God. And it was through these intimate conversations with the divine that Daniel was able to interpret dreams, survive the lion's den, and become a trusted advisor to kings. This increased urge to pray may come as a gentle nudge or a profound longing. You might find yourself whispering a prayer in the middle of the day, or waking up in the early hours of the morning with an overwhelming need to connect with God. It's as though your spirit is being drawn into deeper communion with the divine, preparing you for what's to come. But why does this happen? Well, prayer is a powerful tool for transformation. It shifts our focus from our problems to God's promises. It reminds us of His love, His power, and His faithfulness. It gives us a glimpse of His perspective, helping us to see our situations through the lens of faith rather than fear. And as we draw closer to God through prayer, we become more attuned to His voice. We are more likely to recognize His guidance, to discern His will, and to make choices that align with His plans. It's in these moments of deep connection that we often receive insights, revelations, and even prophetic words that can lead to breakthroughs. So if you find yourself with an increased urge to pray, embrace it. It's more than just a sign, it's an invitation to deepen your relationship with God, to gain wisdom and understanding, and to prepare for the breakthrough that's on the horizon. Prayer is not just a ritual, it's a conversation with God that can lead to significant revelations. The fifth sign is receiving specific instructions from God. Yes, that's right. When God is preparing us for a significant breakthrough, He often provides us with clear and direct instructions. This might sound extraordinary, but it's deeply rooted in the narrative of faith. Take a moment and think about Noah, a man of ordinary means, yet destined for an extraordinary mission. God didn't just vaguely hint at what Noah needed to do, no. He gave him specific instructions, detailed blueprints to construct an ark. This was no ordinary task, it was a divine mission, a breakthrough that would ultimately save humanity. In the same vein, God might equip us with specific instructions when He's preparing us for a significant breakthrough. It might not be as dramatic as building an ark, but the instructions could be as simple as starting a new project, reaching out to a distant friend, or even taking a leap of faith in our personal or professional lives. But the question is, how do we receive these instructions? They may not come as a booming voice from the heavens, but rather they whisper in the silence of our hearts, in the quiet moments when we are most open to divine guidance. It is during these moments that we must tune our hearts and minds to the frequency of faith, to listen, to understand, and to act. Receiving specific instructions from God is a clear sign of an impending breakthrough. It is like a compass, guiding us through the fog of uncertainty towards the sunrise of a new beginning. It is a divine roadmap, charting the course for our journey, pointing us towards a destination that God has prepared for us. So, as we navigate the journey of life, let's remain open to these divine instructions. Let's be like Noah, obedient and faithful, ready to embark upon the mission that God has prepared for us, because remember, in the silence of our hearts, God speaks the loudest. As we conclude, remember, these signs are not a guarantee, but a guidance. They're like breadcrumbs on a path, leading us towards a greater understanding of our journey in faith. We've walked through the 12 signs together, each carrying its own unique message, each a beacon of hope and promise. Let's revisit them once again, the persistent challenges that test our resolve and strength, reminding us that growth often comes from discomfort. The removal of negative influences, a cleansing process that allows us to focus on what truly matters. The closed doors that seem like setbacks, but are often redirections towards something better. The increased urge to pray, a divine pull that strengthens our connection with the Almighty. And lastly, receiving specific instructions from God, a clear indication of His active presence in our lives. But remember, these signs are not definitive proof. They are not a checklist or a roadmap. They are meant to guide and inspire us, to make us ponder and reflect. It's about looking within and around us, seeing the divine hand at work, recognizing the subtle nudges and whispers that guide us towards a breakthrough. So take a moment to look back at your own journey. Have you noticed these signs in your life? Have there been moments of struggle that led to growth, or periods of quiet prayer that brought clarity? Have there been doors that closed only to open others, or specific instructions that you felt were from a higher power? We encourage you to reflect on these experiences, to recognize them for what they are, signs of a major breakthrough on the horizon. Your journey is unique, your experiences are your own, but in sharing them, we create a tapestry of faith, woven together by our collective experiences. If this video was useful to you, don't forget to leave a comment below. We would love to hear about your experiences as Christians. Remember, your story could inspire someone else on their journey.